health and wellness coach, speaker, writer and founder of Inside Out International, and through her talks and courses she inspires, educates and empowers others to heal themselves from the inside out and follow their heart and live their dream life, no matter where they're starting. And you will learn her 3-step process that you can use to turn your life to create whatever you want and turn your challenges into your biggest victories. She is a Toastmaster, but that's not why she's here. She has a very special message to share with you. Please welcome the very talented and inspiring Sue Moore.
Thank you, Richard, for an awesome introduction. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. Imagine if, now I've lost it, I'm quite nervous. Imagine if you put your heart and soul, blood, sweat and tears, and over 9 months of training into believing and achieving a lifelong dream. And then bang, in a heartbeat, it was taken away from you. Well, fellow Toastmasters, that was me. You see, back in October 2014, I was training for my first marathon. I was so excited. It was a dream come true. I was so happy. Everything was going well until 2 weeks out from the start of that event, I had a migraine. Now, this wasn't just a simple migraine that you just pop a pill and then it disappeared. This migraine lasted for over 5 hours, left me writhing in bed in pain. After that 5 hours, I woke up completely numb down the right-hand side of my body, unable to feel my foot, with hot and cold tingles across my back. Now I ask you, fellow Toastmasters, if that was you, how would you feel? Well, I know, absolutely. I felt scared, I felt vulnerable, and I felt angry, as if my whole body was failing me. I needed answers fast, because in 2 weeks' time, I was to run that marathon, and it was a dream of mine for so long. Needless to say, what transpired was I didn't run the marathon, because what happened was over a month of tests, doctor's appointments, blood tests, full body scans. And then I had an appointment with a neurologist. And he told me, Sue, you have 8 lesions on your brain. So because of this, I'm going to diagnose MS, multiple sclerosis. In that moment, my whole life flashed before me. How could that happen to somebody so fit and well, in their prime, about to run a marathon? It just didn't make sense. My heart was pumping 19 to the dozen. But what I realized was I needed to change and take action. Now, in his wisdom, the neurologist, he said, now, Sue, even though MS is an incurable disease, we have drugs. Yeah, drugs that can help the symptoms. They can dampen down the immune system. And these drugs, they might help the symptoms, but they might not. And they also might help future attacks from happening, and they might not. Now, to me, this seemed like playing Russian roulette. It didn't make sense. Every cell in my body was screaming, no! Why would I do that to my body when I saw the whole massive list of side effects? And I decided in that moment, I needed one shot, one opportunity to turn my life around. But how could I go against over 20 years of medical experience from the neurologist and every other medical profession and the pharmaceutical companies as well, thinking that the drugs are the answer? So I chose a second opinion. My second opinion was Dr. Google. We've all done that, haven't we? And in my research, I found over 3,500 cases of other people who have had incurable diseases, like heart disease, all the cancers, all the autoimmune diseases. And they all had spontaneous remissions. And you see, the number one thing that they all had in common was that they believed that they could. And I thought, well, if they can do it, then I can too. I just had to find a way for me. Now, on this journey, I realized that there were 3 things that made a massive difference in my life. And I'm so passionate about them that if I share them with you all today and you take them on in your life, I believe that you too will be able to overcome anything in your life and achieve any dream. For me, the first one was intention, to set a very clear intention. For me back then, it was just a full bill of health, just to feel my foot and be able to run again. I wanted that more than anything in the world, and I believed that I could. The second step was mental rehearsal. This is often known as visualization. And what I did was every single day, every part of my morning meditation, I imagined through my mind's eye that I was in the neurologist appointment with him 9 months in time. And we were looking at my before scans with 8 lesions and after. And he was telling me the good news that I was healthy, that I was healed. And in that moment, I felt so happy and grateful, tears of gratitude running down my face. And I repeated that over and over again every single day. And the beauty about visualization, and this is the power of it, is that your mind doesn't know the difference between an actual event and an imagined event. To your mind, it's the same. So that's why I repeated it every single day, over and over again. Now, the third step is act as if. And what this means is that every single day, you have to become that person who's already achieved your dreams, your goal. So again, for me, it was a full bill of health, to be fit and well. So every single day I had to show up, not as that victim with a diagnosis. I never bought into that diagnosis of MS. Instead, for me, I had to choose the words of health, choose the belief of being whole and healthy. And even though I couldn't feel my foot, believe that I could one day eventually run. So with further research, I looked into my diet and absolutely threw out anything that didn't serve me in every area of my life. So for nutrition, I looked at food to fuel me. And further research, I cut out gluten, dairy and sugar. And almost instantly, it had a dramatic effect on me. I did kinesiology sessions, daily meditation, as I said, and then for my running, again, as I said earlier, I couldn't feel my foot. But I imagined that my right side of my leg was like a piston. And I'd jerk it forward, eventually from the hip. And over time, I started to feel the ground. And then eventually I could run again and see the smile appear on my face. I was so happy. And then gradually to the first lamppost, then the second lamppost, then 1K, 5K, 10K, half marathon, and then almost 9 months to the day of my original diagnosis, I was at the starting line of the Gold Coast Marathon, shoulder to shoulder with all the runners. And in that moment, I knew that I had won, that I had overcome all the issues to be in that position again. And I decided that no matter what happened in the next 4 to 5 hours, I was just going to have fun. I was just going to enjoy the race. Now, it's not often, is it, that you hear the words fun and marathon in the same sentence, is it? But that's what I chose to do. And I had the best time. The crowd was so supportive. They cheered. They rose the spirits of all the runners as they ran past. And as I turned the final corner, as I saw the finishing line in the distance, the crowd was clapping. And as I saw the finishing line, I started to sprint. Well, in my mind, it was a sprint, but it was really like the Clippy Shuffle, you know. But in my mind, I was a gladiator. I was running for it, I was sprinting. and with the tunes of Chariots of Fire in my ears, dun 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 dun. You can sing if you want. Dun 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 dun. I crossed the finishing line with arms in the air, jubilant of what I'd achieved. I've achieved my goal. A month later, I returned back to the neurologist office. And we were there and we were looking at the scans. Before with 88 lesions, and then my current one now. And he said to me, Sue, out of the 8 lesions that you had on the brain, the majority of them have completely disappeared, and the ones that have left have significantly diminished. Now that is with no medical intervention whatsoever, and in a 9-month period. So fellow Toastmasters, to wrap up, I like to share a quote from one of my favourite US rappers, Eminem. And he says, if you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you've ever wanted in that one moment, would you capture it or let it slip? Fellow Toastmasters, this is your life. Make it count. Thank you.
Give it a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Sue Moore. Sue, don't go away. Don't go away.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere just yet. You're not done yet. Ladies and gentlemen, bring her back up. Bring her back up. Give you a huge round of applause.
Thank you.
You know, I said she was a Toastmaster, but that's not why she's here. She has a very special message for everyone. It reminds me of one of my favourite personal development or self-development people is Dennis Waitley. I remember an experiment he did on Olympic athletes, American Olympic athletes, and the very same muscles fired as if they were running in the actual event when they just pictured that event in their mind. And we have a real life example. That's just a little thing, being an Olympic athlete. That's huge. And we have a real life example of that power right in front of us. Well done, Sue.
Oh, thank you.
And
thank you so much.
on behalf of
Thank you.
Central Division,
Thank you.
please accept this, and thank you so much. You have an amazing message to
Thank you.
tell the whole world, not just
Thank you
here,
so much.
but people here can spread that same message
Yeah.
on your behalf because
Thank
they've
you.
heard your story.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sue Moore.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We are going to go straight into the evaluation.